Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you on this really cold morning in Michigan. Colder, I'm sure, wherever the hell Dennis lives in Canada. What's up? And Dennis is gone. All right. I'm sure he'll be back. I hope he'll be back at some point here. But the show must go on regardless. On today's show, we got a big M&A deal in the mobile gaming space specifically. EA announced yesterday it is buying Glue Mobile. So that's a big deal for mobile gaming. Zynga is up on that news, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about IPV. The CEO was on Cramer last night, so that's why that's up today. And really just market at all-time highs, more of the same. It's almost as if we're not in the pandemic anymore. Guest today is Nic Chahine. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. He would run the show at 8:35. In the meantime, smash that like button, hit subscribe, hit share, do all that good stuff. And Joel, I'll bring you on now. How are we doing in the overnight trading session?
After a strong close and strong after hours, we're trading in the red by 6 3/4 handles at 39.01. Let's call it down 7. Pre-market low 36.98 or 38.98. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Crude 6-day winning streak in jeopardy here, flat at 57.97. We did climb into the 58 handle. That was near a close. 58.5 was the close back in February of last year, back under 58. Gold, a little bit of a rally here off the bottom of that trading range. That's gold. It's up 970 at 1843.90. Silver, that's going the same way, but not as much as gold for a change. Silver up 12 cents at 27.70. And Bitcoin futures continuing to work its way through the 40,000 handle. That's Bitcoin. That's up $1,125, 2.5% at 45,940. Let's bring in Triple D. Triple D, what are you seeing out there in the after hours and pre-market trading?
So we're seeing a lot of the Bitcoin stocks trading higher here. They actually are peeling back a little bit because Bitcoin has come off of those highs. But I mean, some of these moves in the Bitcoin stocks, Mara, M-A-R-A, up $3 again, was up a lot more than that last night. Riot trading up another $3. And then you got that MSTR that's just in blast off mode. It's trading up another 70 points here this morning at 11:15. I mean, these things have just taken off any type of crypto play. And these obviously, the market's treating them just as leveraged crypto plays off Bitcoin. So Bitcoin up, Bitcoin goes up 10%. These things go up 25%, it seems like. So unbelievable moves. Every time these things pull back, it just seems like it's another buying opportunity. I don't know where the party ends on these things, but holy mackerel. Like, think about Riot, how many times we had that written off, and it's back from the dead too. So many stocks, just brought back from the dead. That's really, and maybe a lot of that to do is with Reddit, Wall Street Bets, other speculation happening, but so many stocks have been brought back from the dead. The pot stocks in Canada, which were all really in the gutter all of last year, really. I mean, you look at Afria, that's went from $4 to now $21 is full blast off mode. Story just carrying everything. Fundamentals we know don't matter when story gets hot, and the story is hot. Anything crypto and anything pot.
We should crypto and pot. Look at this APHA. Dennis, you're right. January 2018. That
You're getting back to the all-time highs. Yeah. I never thought it was $2 in the summer. And valuation has never made sense, but valuation was starting to make sense when it was $2. It's like, okay, well, they're starting to value this as a greenhouse full of pot plants, but it doesn't matter. I mean, story gets hot, throw valuation out the window. Really in this market, besides, obviously mega caps, the S&Ps, they still try to trade on valuation, but some of the smaller storied stocks or new startups or newer companies, they aren't trading on valuation at all. It's all story. 2021 and 2020, really the back half of it, has all been about story. I mean, you look at the fundamentals of Disney, that's trading on story too. A stock's making new all-time highs, but half the parks are, at a fraction of capacity. They got a lot of other issues, but they got Disney Plus. And Disney Plus is a story that continues to carry the stock. And then you think, okay, if we get the reopening combined, you can see that. I've said for a while, I think Disney's going to 200. Does it fundamentally make sense? Not really, but does it matter? Because this market's just all about a hot story.
Mainstream media has been making a comeback here this year. And a lot of it, they're showing their diversification going into the streaming. So, hey, the trend's your friend, and why fight? I did see Disney at a new all-time high, had that gap up. We traded over 191 here in the pre-market trading. What do we get to there? Boom. 191 and a quarter, it looks like, for Disney. So there's your pre-market high. What an it had that gap to go, tried to fill the gap down to 160, and boom, heading towards 200. We did have some earnings in the pot sector. CGC, Canopy Growth. How'd they do, Spencer?
All right, we can start there. They were just out about an hour and a half ago or so. They reported a loss of Canadian dollars, $2.43 Canadian dollars versus a year ago they had lost 26 Canadian cents in the same quarter. So year over year losses increasing. Sales increased year over year, 152.5 Canadian versus 123 Canadian a year ago. That's million. So losses increasing. Revenue increasing, losses widening for CGC.
$45 for me.
Losses they don't care about. Revenue increasing they like. I mean, this has been, what Cramer has said for a long time, best of breed, but it's not as volatile as the other ones. This one's got a lower beta. So, look at, obviously all the other ones is blasting off. Why Afria? Why are the other ones all up way more than Canopy? So Canopy reports the earnings, but all the other ones are up a lot, and this is barely up. Is there another catalyst here this morning? I'm not, I don't follow the sector.
Tilray had news
all right, that's
this morning.
News.
So they announced an agreement with Grow Pharma to import and distribute cannabis in the UK.
Okay, so there you go. So that's the catalyst here. I mean, more story just being carried. You think about Tilray, and you think about how beat up this stock was, coming from 300 and getting in the summer down to $2 as well. Again, this is the market that brings stocks back from the dead. Some people in the chat were talking about 3D systems. I mean, this was $4 or $5. I had this at $6, and then I got sick of waiting for it. I was in it for 6 months, going nowhere. Sold it. It's now $52. I mean, these are moves that you would not think possible if you're going back to the summer. But in this market right now, anything is possible. So It's the bag holder bailout market, and you're in stocks. It makes me, the more the worse you trade really in this market, because you're like, I'm disciplined and I cut losers. You know what is being rewarded is the lack of discipline. And this isn't going to continue forever, but, so I'm not saying change, from being a disciplined trader, but the lack of discipline is very much being rewarded, because you get down in a position, you get down in a stock, and everybody's learning that, I just hold on until it comes back, because they always come back. And here you have, people buying this at $40, 5 years ago, 3D systems. And they say, I told you so. It went down to $2. And now they can say, I told you so, because this thing's $52 here now. And I mean, who am I to say that they were wrong? They were right. It came back too. So I'm not saying, to start reevaluating, just hold on until your stocks come back. But this is the kind of market that is bailing out bag holders left, right, center. Does it make fundamental sense? Probably not. But does it make sense from the storied perspective? People combing the ditches. I mean, this is the penny stock market too, Joel. Where you've got different penny stocks that seem to go all the time. I mean, I was looking at a couple of different ones, and they just, they run. They continue to run. And whether it's, Twitter accounts that are pumping them, or Reddit, or what it is, but this is the kind of market where it seems like eventually your losers turn back to winners.
And we don't talk about Apple. We don't talk about Microsoft. I mean, when they have earnings, we do. But Amazon, Google, like, when's the last time we talked about Facebook on the
They
show?
don't go anywhere
Yeah.
because nobody wants to sit and make 10% on their money a year or whatever. In this case, they're not making anything because they don't go anywhere. I mean, this is totally reversed the last 5 years, really, because you think about, we were in this mega cap, we were in this, it was the mega caps or it was the stocks in the gutter. The small caps were completely forgotten. Well, that's completely turned around. I mean, IWM continues to just, lead the charge here. And that's obviously made up of small caps. But then when you get into the micro caps, you get into these small cap names, there's just a new one every day that's popping 200-300%. It makes you want to throw all your money in penny stocks. And it's working. I've learned the hard way, that eventually a lot of these penny stocks turn and burn. But I mean, you wanted to use some speculative capital and have some fun, as Dan Nathan always says, have at it, because this is just the kind of market that is rewarding excess speculation and just gambling. It's rewarding that.
Dennis, I mentioned that to Joel yesterday, right before the close. The IWM this year is up about 15%, and SPY is up like 4.5%.
Yeah, it's because people are scared. People don't want. They're spoiled. I mean, I jokingly said, and maybe we could segue over into the Glue Mobile deal.
Yeah.
But I jokingly tweeted last night, I've been in Glue Mobile for a long time. You know that. You've listened to the show. I've been in all the gaming stocks: Zynga, Glue Mobile. EA I sold at a bad price. I shouldn't have sold it. One might Take-Two. ATVI sold. Obviously, whenever you sell, you regret it anyway. So every sale's a bad price. But you look at this and you think, okay, well, I've sat on this for a long time, and now all of a sudden, boom, I get the 33% reward. But I'm like, holy, what about the opportunity cost my capital? Because there's a lot of other stocks going. So, and that's a joke, because the 33% return is still pretty good return on your position. So Glue Mobile pays the bills here for me overnight, at least, because I've still got the position. I mean, what do you do with it now? I mean, this market is the craziest market. That last night, this is a $12.50 cash takeout price. And last night, bring up the chart, Joel. Last night, we trade up over 13.5. They traded a buck above the cash takeout price, because some people are speculating that, hey, maybe they'll get even more money from somebody else. So because there was rumors that there was other people who had actually approached Glue Mobile about a takeover, and this is the deal they finally accepted. So I think one of those suitors might come back. I mean, you want to take a flyer at $12.52. Your downside's probably only to $12.50, saying this thing could get taken over for a higher price. I mean, but if you want to pay $13.5, you're paying a buck over it. That's kind of crazy. So I actually wish I would have sold my shares last night. I thought about selling into that pop, but it was fast.
It was very quick.
And now it's holding $12.50. So I don't know. I'll probably sell just to move on, because I don't think another suitor comes in. So, but you're only risking yourself if the deal goes through 3 cents right now to have that upside of a potential suitor. I'll probably just sell it though, just because it's getting thick now too. Just move on, take the win and move on.
Just real quick, we didn't do it. I just wanted to, for technical, real quick on Canopy Growth. This 45. Just keep an eye on that. I see 2 daily highs there. Snuck over it in the pre-market. So if you're looking for a breakout, 45 is the level in that. And then if you just look at like what's going on, like macro, this is kind of going back to your theme. Legalized gambling. Right. The gambling stocks are taking off. Marijuana, penny stocks. It's just like it's a market euphoria right now. And can't get in the way of the momentum. It's just the way it is, right?
This is euphoric. It is. I mean, it's indicative in a lot of stocks of 1999, but we don't know if we're in 1996, 1997, 1998. We got a Fed. We've talked all this stuff. We've got the Fed that's the most accommodating Fed in the history of Feds. So they don't even care about inflation. So, and they don't even measure it, which we tweeted out last night. Guy Adami's making, the point that we've made a million times on CNBC. He says there's inflation everywhere. They just choose not to measure it. And we know that. Let's ignore food. Let's ignore housing. Let's ignore, energy. Let's ignore everything that's inflationary. And we'll just tell you about your TV prices going down, and we'll say you don't have inflation. So, I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But,
you see this TLT?
The market knows it. The market knows it.
You see this TLT?
Well, who in the hell? Yeah, I know it's been collapsing. Well, who in the hell wants to? You're 1.5%. I mean, on the TLT here now, obviously yields, coming up a bit, but I mean, I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts here, Joel? Like, you look at this market and you just think bonds. Like, I don't know. You want to own bonds?
No.
You want to own Coca-Cola?
No.
You want to own XLU? when their stocks going 20, 30, 40%? I mean, this is the kind of market that those stocks, when the market rolls over, it's going to be that kind of stuff that holds your portfolio up. So do you want to have that stuff in your portfolio?
No.
I don't know. I've actually been moving away from a lot of it, but I kind of want some of it in there. We've talked about Procter & Gamble, consumer staples. I mean, it's the same reason, Apple, Amazon go nowhere. So, and I'm heavily in Apple and Amazon, and Google's been okay because of the earnings report, but I mean, I'm underperforming on an investment standpoint for sure. My trading is awesome right now. I'm in my best month again in 10 years last month. So the day trading is fabulous. But you know what I'm in? I'm in all this crap. I mean, I've been trading all these, small caps. I'm over here. I'm trading momentum. I mean, the day trading is fabulous right now. But my long-term investment portfolio isn't going into Afria. It's not going into it. Do I trade these things? Absolutely. Do I put them in my long-term investing portfolio? No, because I try to put some fundies in my long-term. So I separate it. So, people often ask me about my long-term investment account. It's definitely underperforming right now. But I'm okay with that because I know if it goes to turn, I'm still in pretty good companies over there where, I make it up on the trading side, though. Like a lot of people have one account, so they got to be trading them. If I only had one account, maybe I would be just in all this stuff too, and I wouldn't be touching Apple. But, I've got separate accounts. I've got my long-term stuff that I stick over here. If I like, the long-term story and I like the fundamentals and my ducks are in a row, I put in the long-term portfolio and try not to look at it. The trading, though, you can trade anything. And man, I tell you, the trading's awesome right now.
S&P's kind of just slipping here, down 8.25. Very tight range yesterday. So, I mean, we were still up. We were up for the 6th day in a row. Coming in, I mean, I don't know, you had your Monday high. I don't know if that's going to be the high for the week or whatever, but tighter ranges. And that's good. I mean, volatility will eventually come back in the market, but yesterday was one of our tightest ranges in quite some time. So we'll see if that trend continues. Spencer, you want to do any other earnings reports of significance?
Before we go away from the EA glue thing, I want to check out Zynga if you can. Really, there aren't that many publicly traded mobile game companies. Glue and Zynga are the two largest. There are a handful of others that trade on the OTC markets and aren't super notable for our purposes. But GLUU and ZYNG or ZNGA, sorry, are the two largest ones. So Zynga is up today because if you take the Glue Mobile announcement at face value and say, okay, there are multiple suitors there. Well, where else could those suitors go with their money? And Zynga is the only other alternative, really. So
I'm long Zynga. I do think it's hard to read the chat. I'm almost done. Like I love 90% of you in the chat, but there's got to be 10% of people who just want to piss you off. And
don't let me get to you, Dennis.
I know. Like maybe it's because we've grown and people just come and they can hide under the anonymous handle and they can say what they want to say to you. Like they just try to get you worked up. And, here we're doing this show trying to help other traders. I tell you, I'm not paying my bills doing this show. I'm doing this show because I enjoy talking stocks. And I like, a lot of you people in the chat. I've learned a lot from a lot of people in the chat. 90% of the people in the chat are really awesome. And, you guys make this for me. As we've grown bigger, we've had so many people coming into the chat that just, there's like that 10% that want to be their voice and they hide under anonymous handles and they say ignorant stuff to you. They reach out to you on Twitter and they say rude things to you, just trying to upset you. It makes it like so frustrating. Like I've never been so frustrated with the hate. I don't mind one or two, but I get, honestly on Twitter, I get 10 to 20 like tweets at me, just telling me I'm an idiot. And you know what? Have at it. If that's what you want to think, if that's what makes you feel better about yourself, to put other people down, then I feel sorry for you. Because, if you need to put other people down and feel better about yourself, you've got problems. So anyways, that's all that. So anyways, moving on, I'll go to Zynga here. I'm long Zynga. I guess I'm an idiot for being long this one too. Anyways, people want to see me lose money. But I think Zynga, the reason I'm long Zynga is because Michael Pachter is awesome. He's on our show. It's
He is
975. He's 975. He says, I think Zynga, I love it with a capital L. I'm like, I love Michael Pachter. I like the story of mobile gaming. Glue Mobile catches a bid. I think there's a suitor out there for Zynga here eventually too. So I'm sticking with it.
It got the pop and it got over 1240 initially, just like right on that head. Excuse me, on that headline, just settling in. The chart looks good. Where's this thing as far as all-time high goes? I can't remember. I think the stock did. Oh yeah, we're not even close to all-time highs here. If the all-time high was in 2012, folks, that was just under $16 at $15.91. I also was looking at this chart during the March meltdown, and it really held up pretty well. I mean, this was the period of the March meltdown. I mean, it did come down and get under $6, but if you consider the price action in the S&Ps, there was just a lot of relative strength there, and
it held up.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, it's $6 stock, but you just got to look at it on a relative strength basis there. Very strong and up another 53 cents today.
I mean, it's not as easy of a pill to swallow as Glue Mobile. You're talking about a $1.5 billion company versus an $11 billion company. But if you get like rumors last month were Tencent, you get a Tencent coming in here. It's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for a Tencent. Is Activision, Blizzard, or Take-Two going to sniff around in Zynga now that Glue Mobile's off? Well, apparently there were multiple suitors for Glue, so I naturally think that Zynga's the next suitor. If Zynga had a $2 billion or $3 billion market cap, I would think very likely. The $11 billion market cap maybe turns a few people off because you probably got to pay 15 to get it. But Tencent sniffing around out there. I still like the story, even as a standalone company. We got Michael Pachter. He wasn't saying it was Takeover Canada. He likes it as a standalone story. So I think I stick with Zynga. I'm actually surprised it's not up more on the Glue Mobile deal. So I'm sticking with it.
And how did they react to Take-Two on this deal? They also had earnings,
well,
right?
Earnings. Yeah, Take-Two was earnings.
Okay.
I'm long Take-Two still, long-term portfolio. It's down $10 on the earnings report. We've been down this road before with Take-Two. Usually the dips are a buy eventually. So I'm sticking with it.
You did.
You want to give the earnings?
Sure. I mean, I feel like Take-Two always beats. Let me look in the pro. I bet you they always beat. Let me see. Yeah, they pretty much always beat. So no real surprises there. EPS $1.24 versus a 96-cent estimate. Sales of $814 million for $746 million. So beating the beat. I mean, like you said, Dennis, dips are generally to be bought. So no reason to fret, I think.
I just don't see the gaming story going away anytime soon. Like, even if we come out of lockdown, you can say, okay, well, it's been such a good environment for the video game stocks. People are sitting at home, they're playing video games. But you know what you did was you hooked a lot of people on video games too. I used to play video games a lot. And maybe that's why I'm a day trader and I got into, it's kind of like a video game, doing the day trading to a certain extent. So maybe that's why, I got into something like that. But I look back and I think, man, you can really get addicted to this kind of stuff. And I bet you we got a few people that got addicted to gaming through COVID. So I don't think we go back to where we were prior to COVID, even if we come out of the lockdown. I don't think it's going. I think it's going to be some, just like with Zoom and everything, there's going to be some people, Peloton, there's going to be some people that still stay playing games. There's going to be some people that stop, but so maybe it doesn't fire on as many cylinders as it was through a lockdown period. But I think there's still going to be a lot of people doing video games in the future. And that's why, the valuation on some of these stocks are stretched for sure. I mean, I about Take-Two at $100 back in the summer. It's $200 now. It's a pretty good return year over year. But I think Take-Two is one of the best in breed. And I don't think video games are going away. And that's why I want to stick with it.
All right. You did get a little dip here. And where'd you get to? You got to just under $202 and getting a little pop off that. On the dailies, I'm not much there at 200, but man, if you get down anywhere in the mid 190s over maybe not today or over the next few days. A lot of lows in that area, maybe 192 to 195. But right now, it's really too close to the pre-market low where I'd be comfortable saying, yeah, they're done. But as always, the opening price is a good level to keep an eye on. Currently trading, just a patient buyer in there. Maybe someone that's came in with a short position. He did spike up to 222, so that might have scared some people. Now you're back at 200. So anybody that caught a short in that area has got a pretty nice return here at 203.65.
So we have some big earnings coming tonight. I don't know if you were done with the current earnings reports because we had Fox, we had a few. I don't know if people want to talk DuPont earnings. You can if you want. But we've had
DuPont. Who wants to talk about DuPont?
DuPont was interesting for a couple days though with that buyer at the close. It was like 3 days in a row where there was a huge buyer at the close and stock gapped up on the close. I shorted it. Yes, I short stocks. Gapped up on the next close. I shorted the close. Bought it back literally like 5 minutes later in the after hours because it came right back down. It did 3 days in a row and then the buyer was gone. I don't know why they were doing that, but like that one day we highlighted it and we were saying gapped up $2, ran up $1 and gapped up another $1 on the close, which is just insane for a stock like DuPont. Those are classic fades when they're just based on order flow. But we do have some big earnings tonight. We got Twitter, we got Cisco, we got Lyft, we got Yelp. We actually have Glue Mobile too. That's supposed to report tonight. So I don't know if the Glue Mobile.
They're out.
Did they release it ahead of time with the deal?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, because it was scheduled for tonight.
Yeah. No, they're not going to wait a day.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. So what about Twitter? I mean, the stock has run.
Don't ask Joe about Twitter.
It disappoints. It seems like every time it reports earnings, the bar is set high again. Because you have Pinterest that did well, you have Snapchat that did okay, and then they eventually did rally it. So you had pretty good numbers from Snapchat, you had pretty good numbers for Pinterest. So the bar is a little bit higher for Twitter. The stock has run up into it. Do they finally get over that high bar? Is this the time? Because it seems like Twitter sells off every time it reports earnings. So maybe this is the time it's going to be different because it's too obvious of a trade. Is it a crowded short going into it because it's an obvious
so
crowded
high? I know.
I don't know. Like it's run so far, I'd be nervous to hold it through the report because they're a perennial disappointer. But at the same time, I still like the story. I'd still like to get the stock back. I had it a couple times here. I've had it a lot of times. I've traded a lot of times, but I don't know. What do you?
That's an awful state. Yeah.
Are you still in it?
Yeah, still got a little bit. I don't know. I mean, after that I was thinking about dumping it before last report, did a little bit, and then held on the remainder. That's an awful steep trend line there. It's maybe not drawn perfectly, but boy, oh boy, I mean, that is from 44 to 60. Boy, oh boy, they do disappoint quite a bit, but man, it sure got the momentum going. It hasn't been up the all-time high. I mean, at this point, where did they get to? I think it got to right off the IPO. We're getting back to this area here. Your next monthly high comes in at 5609, and then in February 2014, it hit 6724. I don't know. The way it went from 44 to 60, I wouldn't rule anything out. I think all the, what's been going on with, Reddits and Wall Street bets, I think that, that just flows into Twitter too. So I think they've been a beneficiary of the increase and also the increase in retail trading, the participation in that. So it's a medium for information and widely used. So much for it not being, a Trump stock after he's out of office. Maybe some people were looking for it to peel back, but it has been the exact opposite.
Twitter actually, if I go back to the past few quarters, it tends to either I'm looking at some data on Market Chameleon. The stock tends to either open way down or way up. There really is no in between. So in October, it opened the following day after earnings down 15%. The quarter after that, it opened up 1%. Then it was down 7%, up 9%, down 18%. So there really is it's like every other quarter, it either opens way up or way down. So last quarter, it opened way down. maybe that means this time's going to open a little bit up. I'm not really sure. I'm giving you the historical patterns here. There really isn't one. Is I guess what I'm saying.
Okay, so maybe I just remember the last couple and was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that report's pretty good," and they crushed it. So I know because I was in there on the last report, and I was like, "Man, I wish
the
we
last report
before I reported earnings."
the last report opened down 15%.
Yeah, not fun.
No.
I don't know. Maybe this is the market. The stocks are just going to buy it. Snapchat opened down. They just bought it anyway. So, I mean, again, like I said, the
CEO was
market's
on.
rewarding
Yeah.
risk. So it's hard to just get bearish. I have struggled to get bearish anything here. I know eventually, there's going to be reasons to be bearish. And yes, there's individual, short-term shorting opportunities. But, man, it's been a tough market to be short.
Yeah, we just bounced off the pre-market low. I was just looking at Twitter, and a lot of times the revenues, and it's really amazing that this company has only made over $1 billion once, and that was in Q4 of 2020. So I don't know about the EPS number, but if you come out with like a 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, something like that, the estimates are 1.19 billion. So this is the first time that I can see in the history of this company reporting that the estimates for revenue have been over $1 billion. So I think that's what people are going to be keying on. Can they do the 1.2 and come in line? Are they surprised with 1.3, 1.4? I noticed there's just a ton of advertisements on there, things that I don't, subscribe to or follow. So they're picking up on the ad market. I don't know how,
It's targeted pretty well.
Yeah,
too.
it is.
I mean, mine's littered with trading stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's just everything I
they
do
got
open
it.
up browser. It's like learn to trade. I'm like, okay,
Follow
let's go.
Triple D. Is that what it
My
says?
own advertisements popping at me.
Listen to the pre-market prep show. That's what it says. But 8:33 here, Spencer. Do we want to? I think we got a lot through a lot of the earnings. Anything else interesting after the close?
Well, we got Arc again, Cathy.
Oh, want to do the Cathy update.
Okay, so someone on Twitter suggested a new segment that I think is really fun. I don't have a fancy graphic for it yet, but this is good. This is going to be called "What Cathy Would Do." That's going to be the name of this. Okay.
How about what Cathy did? How about what she did?
I wish here. You know what? Who was the person that suggested that? Because I
so we got the daily morning Cathy. We might as well because she moves stocks so much.
Wait, I want to give credit to where credit is due. Who said that? Gosh.
Okay, you find that on the background.
I can't find it right now.
10 stocks. She bought 10 stocks last night. You know what? They're not moving much though. Shopify is down $1. She bought that. But this is all the same stock she keeps picking on. DraftKings, she'd bought that before. When she buys for the first time, they really get the live. When you start buying for like NVS, I mean, she's bought that every day for like a month, I feel like. So it's not getting any real impact to it at all. Regeneron is up $4, probably a little bit of Cathy pop. Classic Cathy buy the dip. She loves. If I want to answer your question, Spencer, what would Cathy do? Cathy would buy the dip. And last 2 days in a row.
Stock boy P. There we go.
Good job, Stock Boy P. So what Cathy would do is Cathy would buy the dip, and she bought the dip 2 days ago on you, or Friday on you. She bought the dip yesterday on you. The stock pops up. Well, Cathy bought, but you know what? It was somewhat predictable that she was going to buy. I actually went long before the close and then sold into the pot just as a trade because I thought, it's dipping. She's probably buying it again. Sure enough, she does. She bought PCAR again. She bought KTOS. She bought EXPC, which she has bought before. Almost all these stocks she has bought before. She bought Alibaba, which she had bought the previous day. And she bought more Twitter. She likes Twitter going into the report, guys. The Cathy indicator.
Look at this Bobster just hanging out at this area. Boy, oh boy, 265. I mean, it got to 270 the other day. This is looking interesting. Yeah, it's holding up good, but it's like you want to see some follow through here. But I mean, it's not like Baba. I mean, besides that news that it had, who wants to own Baba?
The Ant Financial, if they could get that.
There you go. That
would be a catalyst, or Jack Ma starts to publicly speak again. That could help it as well.
That would be a double catalyst there.
Let's grab Nick.
All right, Nic Chahine. He's not going to show his face, so unless he turns his camera off,
one day we'll see Nick's face.
we're going to see.
It's early out there for him. He's out there.
Look at this hair, man.
Yeah,
Dennis.
Hey, Dennis, nice shirt.
Look at that. Nice.
Yeah.
Let's stop trading someone.
Yeah, those are the days, right? Back when we
used to actually be able to go somewhere and actually meet people, shake hands, and say, "Nice to meet you," and what is your strategies, and learn things from other people. Now we just now we just do it virtually.
Not anymore.
Internet. Yep.
All right, Nic Chahine is here. Nick, good morning.
Good morning to you. Hey, I tried to change the avatar. I didn't put the picture there.
It didn't put the picture. Yeah, okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
I like it with the lines through it.
No, I don't like the line. Just hit the stop cam button at the bottom.
It's dejecting.
It's the tough guy look. No, I do not show my face. But he does talk his trades, and I tell you, Nick's a good trader. What's on your radar, buddy?
So I was looking at Baba yesterday. We caught the bounce, and I was trying to re-engage. I don't like how it fell back into 261 and change. So I'm looking at that, how it behaves versus yesterday's low. Because if it loses that, it might be a little catalyst further lower, maybe $12 or so at least. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at why the VIX made a higher high overnight than yesterday's high. I'm holding VIX calls. By the way, this is the cheapest way to short the market without losing any money, because every time the VIX gets near 20, it doesn't fall further these days unless they find world peace. So holding VIX.
We're not going back to.
Don't have to worry about that happening.
Yeah, right. And holding VIX calls is holding its value very well. Last time we did it, it was about 12 days ago, just before the correction, and the values doubled. And it wasn't to profit; it was just a way to hedge somebody's portfolio. And it was doing its job. And if you held it through, you didn't lose any money. So it's pretty good. Way of, buying puts, you're getting decimated with these rallies. But if you, in SPY or particular stocks, but for protection, which is also okay. Like car premiums, you don't cry about it, because the alternative would be that you would mean that you crash your car and you need the premiums to work for you. Their job is to lose money. So that's the easy things, and then try to swing trade the action with the incessant buying of everything. So, and the fact that you guys,
it's tough. It's a one-way tape. At least, maybe not in the mega caps, but it's a one-way tape when you get anything under a $1 billion market cap. It seems
so. On Friday, I said I'll end this rally. I'm going to buy IWM calls at the close, and I did just for a gag, and sure enough, the morning opens and they run to high heaven. I didn't time it at the top of it. I got out of it because it was a joke I did on Friday, but that's the mentality. Everything goes up forever, and the fact that everybody quotes ARK, and you can overlay that chart. All of her indices are at all-time highs yesterday, except for one, the G, which still close to all-time highs. So kudos to her, what she's doing, but that's also building a potential house of cards. Because if you look at her, I don't know if we spoke about this last time. If you look at the website of ARK, they say in big bold lead, like font 60, they invest strictly in disruption, which is great. But I don't think it's healthy to build a whole portfolio based on disruption, because it implies it's new stuff. So it's pies in the sky. When you put all your eggs in one basket and it's all pies in the sky, it's risky. It's very aggressive, young portfolio.
Very aggressive. And that's it. ARK is going to outperform in a bull market substantially, which is exactly what she's doing. And we're in this, we've been in a bull market for a long time. So she is
the market right now.
She really is. I mean, we all talk. We got a segment we just made, and we got to talk about what she's bought. And she buys, and it goes up 5%.
Yeah, I heard it. You guys were naming them like up, and away.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. But one thing I will say, if you're just blindly chasing ARK, if we ever get into a market that a bear market, that the ARK will get crushed.
I made that
high beta stuff.
I made that point in social media, and I got pushback on it.
They don't like that. They don't like to hear that.
They weren't belligerent about it, but they were definite Uber fans. Well, not Uber. Very strong fans. We can't use that term Uber fans then, though. I think we're talking about Uber.
But that's the point. Is what you both said is so correct, right? She's going to outperform when we're in a bull market, and she's also going to lead us down too.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not healthy to be her everything in your portfolio.
Right. Yes.
And if you leave, here's I don't understand this email that goes out. I get it just to see what my people are talking about because I get questions. Inevitably, 90% of them are stocks she picks, and so why not just buy the ARCs? Why bother? Just buy her ETFs.
Because you're getting that excess. People are trying to get in there and and get that excess return of, I'm going to grab it really fast. The algos are on it though, I'll tell you that. Like you bring up that EXPC, like the smaller ones when she buys them, like they are up in split seconds. So there's the algos are all over this trade already, the Cathy trade. Now there is opportunities. There is sometimes opportunities where you can get the crumbs left over by the algos. But I mean, the algos are taking the majority of it. The news algos, where it's instantaneous. That email comes and they're instantaneously higher. Anything like that's got the smaller ones, and the SPACs too. She touches any SPAC and those things just blast off.
Do we know her holding time at all on it?
To be honest, we had this conversation.
I have a question. Are they required to report actual holdings, or can they just say whatever because they manage private money, right? So there's no regulation with her.
Well, it's an actively managed ETF, so they are required to disclose their holdings.
Okay,
but they're not tracking an index, right? It's whatever they feel like buying and selling, right? So, that's a good question, Nick. But
it's really the phenomena that you have, with like the Warren Buffett, except it's
but it's real time.
But it's daily.
Yeah, exactly. It's as close as we're ever going to get, I think, to real time because Warren Buffett is 45 days delayed, right? From the end of the right. Same thing with all these hedge funds, even with a mutual fund, right? They don't have to disclose till well they only mutual funds have less transparency than ETFs. So, yeah, I mean, it's sort of the Warren Buffett tracking trade. Do
you think other hedge fund managers go to this type of system, daily reporting of trades, because she's getting rewarded so much for it?
So talk about disrupting.
She's getting rewarded because she buys a stock, she buys a new position, goes up 4 or 5% because she bought it that day. So she's immediately going to be up. For the simple reason is that because she bought it, she's the catalyst.
Yeah. So talk
I
about
wonder if other
she's living her own life. She's disrupting the industry that
she is. So I wonder if there isn't more hedge fund managers like you think like Bill Ackman going to start doing stuff like this. He's not actively trading like she is either. I don't think like she's trading fairly actively. We can see that. Even like she bought Pinterest last week and then she was selling it. I mean, you have inflows and outflows coming in, so maybe it's just slightly adjusting within the position.
I also don't understand why they're so active every day. So they must have some sort of an algorithm that they track for.
That's what I talked about. I mean, a very, very good algorithm at this point. But I mean, how could you be sitting there, making all those, I'm going to, the asset allocation? She's very sophisticated system and. So I mean, just a lot of alpha in what she does. I mean, if you're good at trading those stocks off those headlines and stuff, it seems like you get the pop and they come in, and no one cares.
Your segment just got extended on Cathy Wood. So how about we talk about something else?
Let's bring it over to Nick.
Have you talked about averaging down? Because it's not a healthy thing to do in spec. For example, somebody in QS, not to pick on one stock, but that's the only one that comes to mind. Sure. I think it's important to tell your listeners and viewers that you can't average down in a speculative trade because it goes to zero eventually, potentially. It's not averaging down in an existing business. Like it's okay to average down in Palantir. It's not okay to average down in QuantumScape, in my book, or Hyliion, HYLN. Because they are not proven businesses that are operating now. It's all what they can do in the future, and it's hit and miss in QS's situation.
I don't do that for exact same reasons you are saying. I've been proven wrong in this last 6 months though, because this is the kind of market that you buy the dip, and it's hard to find the example like you were just saying of stocks that don't eventually come back. I mean, that's the problem is we're kind of teaching bad things right now.
I mentioned those two things because I had those conversations this week and the week before that with these two stocks. Somebody was stuck in them and they were asking if they should average down or sell a spread. And I was like, wait, you took a risk. You made the decision to accept the risk. You should live with it, cut it loose if it's not working, or stay until it dies. So I would not average down in it. Same with the HYLN. I did a video on it. I got a lot of hate just because I pointed out a line that they need to retake. I wasn't like belligerent about it or anything. So I'm seeing a lot of behavior that is wrong in certain stocks, and that's the danger that's coming from this IWM rip. I downloaded the whole IWM and I track it every day. Which stocks are moving? Dozens of them are moving more than 50% or 20 to 50% every day.
Crazy, eh? Wow.
Dozens of them, and the names are, and plus, they're no longer small caps. Plug Power is 35, 36, 38, but last time I checked, $1 billion. Those are massive businesses on nothing.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a story, though, and that's the thing we've talked about for a long time. But who is the catalyst for Plug Power been? I mean, who has driven this entire Plug Power rally?
Again, I'm not picking on Plug. I mean, they might have. I'm just saying the whole cohort. Plug is it was 1% of the whole index. According to this the sheet I downloaded, it might be static and now it's completely out of whack. But Novavax is in there, and that's rocketing higher and higher. Yeah. So I picked on Novavax. I bought a debit put spread yesterday. It's a little green. I did that before. It got green. I took some of it and then it ripped. So I broke even. So I'm trying to pick on it again out in time. 4,000% up in a year or so. This is a stock that almost got delisted, reverse split 20, so it doesn't get delisted, and now it's going to the moon. I just don't buy it. And if you look up on a monthly chart on Novavax,
we got it up there. Yep.
Yeah, the monthly. That's the only way to be able to evaluate something like this, to see, okay, they've been here before, and then how much of this exuberance are they going to deliver with results and words?
It's unreal. Like, you think the story, like, okay, we've got the vaccine, you think the story is almost behind it, and then it has this move a week and a half ago that's like, holy cow, I did not see that move coming.
Yeah. And I didn't risk a lot of money because I don't know the actual math of the vaccine and the income stream or everything. It just feels wrong to me. And I figured I can risk $3 for a big wide $20, $25 wide spread. So
good risk reward on that. Nick, I want to ask you, and I've been thinking about this all week, the March 30 GameStop puts.
Oh, yeah. They're fun. Okay. So, all right. So backstory, I had a call spread that E-Trade messed up for me because for a week I could not trade E-Trade in the morning, and I wanted to close a winning trade, and I thought I did money. Anyway, I got scratched on it. I bought a put. It cost me over $4, just over $4. I don't remember.
Where was it trading at when you paid $4 for that?
I have no idea.
Because you said I thought it was cheap. You said it's like free, cheap.
Well,
so I was thinking,
here's how I made it cheap. Every week I've been selling against it, diagonals. Okay. So 60 cents, 55 cents, 25 cents on top of the money I made in the calls. So
cost down.
My cost is less than half of what I paid. And every day it goes up to, at its highest, I think it was $7 or $8. So I effectively doubled my money, but I didn't book it. I just left it. I enjoy watching it every day. So let's see what happens.
It's like, I mean, it was amazing the way those premiums held up in the puts when that thing was up there. I mean, you could just, I mean, you're looking at, I'm going to get some cheap puts, and you're like, what?
The highest it got on the day it was rising the fastest, because the implied volatility exploded to 900 or whatever it was. So even the put buyers were making money less fast than the call buyers.
Because of the volatility.
That's crazy.
Yeah, if you looked at the options chain, both sides were green. I've never seen that before.
That's crazy. Yeah, so you're wrong on your call. Like you made the wrong call.
Right. I made the wrong call, but I'm still making money.
You're good, man.
That's how good I am. Darn it, that's how good I am. No, but I'm seriously trying. I decided to opt out of selling another one. I could have collected 80 cents yesterday at the open for selling the 30 put, but then that will put me in a calendar. But the calendar doesn't really work, because if it goes to zero, then you lose money,
right,
because you're long and short at the same place and you paid to be there. So if you make a diagonal, so you would sell a lower put, then it gives you some room to manage your risk. You're long higher, the long leg is higher than the short leg. So then, what the heck is that? Seinfeld? That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Hey, sorry to bring it back, but I just saw this headline from Bloomberg, and I want to read it because it's relevant to our previous conversation.
Nick
Wall Street banks have issued 50 structured products tied to ARK ETFs in the past 3 months, and the most prolific. Wait, let me see here. Blah, blah, blah. JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley are the most prolific with around 30 and 10 notes with about $100 million in assets.
They're just all jumping on the Cathy train. I mean,
so basically, they can't beat her, join her.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty good.
There's just a demand from their clients. They're like their clients, they're in turn, they want to invest with Cathy Woods. There's a demand for it. And I mean, this is such feedback loop. Like, I mean, as more people want to come into her stocks, her picks are going to go more. So it's like I trade Cathy stuff too. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I thought about it, and the only way I would do it is see if there's anything that I would agree with on value. Because if I wanted to sell puts, it's hard to sell puts with confidence on something that is not here yet, of something in the future. Like I looked at Regeneron, for example. Is that one of hers? I thought I read.
I think you mentioned that. Yep.
She's buying it.
So it's fallen into a tradable area. So it all depends. If you want to own Regeneron, you can sell some pretty expensive puts down there to own the shares. So you get paid now to perhaps own the shares a lot lower than they already are. So that would be one way to do that.
And then on the other side of the trade, according to IHS Market, a record 1.9% of ARKK shares were sold short last week. 1.9%.
Only 1.9.
It's 2% of people.
2% of people are willing to bet against.
But it's a record high. It's a record high.
Yeah.
So well, scary. I don't want that trade. That's for sure. I mean, even if you disagree with her, why would you pick that fight?
I don't know.
That is not smart. So other things I'm watching are the bond markets to see. And I was watching the dollar and I was like, okay, this is it. It's the dollar's time. Nope.
The dollar's time.
Snack.
Go down.
So I looked at the FXE. That's how you can trade the dollar versus the euro. See if you can do some charting on that one. There might be opportunities. I'm trying to spot them. I don't have any action plans on it yet, but the bond market also bounced well yesterday. 148 was a place on the TLT if you wanted to track that. Keep an eye on it because it's not a rule that bonds and stock trade in opposite directions, but they do compete for bids. So it does make sense on bad days for bonds to rally when stocks fall. So I'm looking at VIX, bonds, dollar. I used to look at the yen, but that's no longer an indicator unless it's a panic sell. And that's it. And risk appetite is just incredible.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's incredible.
So fear, the VIX measures fear as well as the CPI measures inflation, which brings me to the other thing I'm watching is the CPI this week. That's going to be important. I don't know about you guys. I pay $3.80 now for gas. So oil is back to 60.
That doesn't count.
They
don't measure.
Bringing in irrelevant things, Nick.
It does count, but
very little.
So no, I tell you how it counts because somebody that commutes, if they're going back to work, if they stop paying us for staying at home, we can probably get the incentive to go back to work. I commute. If I commute, and my spending money got less, it's like a haircut right away because now I'm paying. Like if my son commutes, he drives a pickup, then he would need $200 in gas a week.
Yeah, I was saying the Fed doesn't count it. We know it counts for real. We know the inflation rate is much higher.
CPI
it's a joke.
Oil energy is in the CPI.
Yeah, but it's equal weighted. Like the weighting, they don't even disclose how it's weighted. So they'll put the energy in there as the equal weight to your television.
So this party will end when the Fed will get castrated a little bit. Right now, they think it's champion and it's control, and it's not. They can do whatever lunacy they want, but it's finite. I mean, they have 2 jobs, and they said they're going to ignore one of them for a year. They said they will run a hot CPI for a year. I call their bluff on that one. If CPI gets hot, two times in a row, CNBC will start covering it, and everybody will freak out.
Maybe.
And that's we have that on Friday, correct?
I think Wednesday, Thursday. There are a couple of days.
Numbers really hit. I mean, the unemployment numbers haven't been haven't been moving the market that much. We'll see if everyone's looking for inflation. We'll see what that
Nobody
CPI
cares
number.
if they're unemployed. They're getting paid at home. There's a tremendous amount of money falling into the wrong people's lap. The small business America needs help. They need to open their doors.
Yeah.
Finally, in California, they opened their door. Finally, now I can go get a haircut. So it's just incredible. The gym owner my friend stopped by my house the other day. I said, "Are you supposed to be open?" "Well, only outside." Of course, he's not only outside because he has to survive. People won't work out outside. So he's breaking the rules. So is everybody else. Let them open the door so we can heal instead of just throwing money at people that are going to buy motorcycles.
Nic
Harley
Chahine-
Davidson?
Yeah, you know what? It popped up on the oversold scanner that I have. I was like, okay, I should buy it. And then the next day it's up 5%. I missed it. So I'm good.
Nic Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spreads, also runs the site sellspreads.com. Nick, as always, a pleasure.
Thank you. This was fun.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
One day we are going to get to see Nick's face. I don't know when that day will
Get
come.
him up early.
I wonder what he looks like.
You know what Nick looks
Wait,
like.
what he looks like. Oh, man. Yeah. We just haven't seen his face for a while. All right.
I forget.
856. Can we just hit on IPV? The CEO was on Mad Money last night. So if you're wondering why that's up, that's your reason.
I bought this stock yesterday after 10 a.m. when they said he was going to be on Mad Money. I mean, this is how stupid this market is. I mean, it's just dumb, easy money. I think I had to pay up a bit because the algos were all over from 1650 to 17. I think I got it at 1740. And you turn around and you sell it after hours like 19 and a half. And I sold early. And it's 2070. And this keeps going. I mean, Jim Cramer took this stock from 1650 to 2075 by himself. This is all 100% Cramer. You can take this candle and you can market Cramer. It's one of the biggest candles the stock has ever had, or SPAC has ever had. And it's all to Jim Cramer. So, I mean, this is just this market that we're in. You know, he talks a SPAC and they go up. I don't know when, this ride ends, but I mean, you've got to adjust your trading and you got to just, and here, on IPV, I say, don't chase. I chased that up like 7-8% to get that thing yesterday after he announced it because he had to. And, and then you get paid for it. I've sold it. I sold it last night in the pop, like I said, at 19 and a half. I thought, oh, that was a good trade from 17 and a half to 19 and a half. And here it is at 20 and a half. So again, every sale's bad, it seems like.
I guess so.
We lost Spencer.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
The old mute trick. I haven't done that in a while.
I didn't realize that was being thrown to me, but all right.
He left us.
I'm still here. All right, let's do some tickers from the chat. We haven't gotten to many of those in the past couple of days. So if you have a ticker, drop it in. We'll cover a few of them quickly before we hop out. And let me give the chat a couple of seconds to catch up because we're on like a 10-second delay. What's the deal with UWMC? Is it short interest? I don't know what the deal is. It's not looking good. I know that much.
UWMC.
Yeah, this is.
I know nothing about this.
Yes, you do. This is United Wholesale Mortgage. This is the Quicken Loans competitor. They went public via SPAC, right? Yeah, I think it was via SPAC.
Oh man, oh boy, look
Once
at that.
they have announced deal,
it's tough.
The $10 floor is gone. So, like this is what we talked about. And this is what Chris Catchy talks about on SPAC's Attack multiple times. I mean, it seems like pre-deal, most of these things have a pretty good floor around $10 because apparently, and you've told me that before too, if they don't get a deal after 2 years, you get your $10 back, don't you, Spencer?
Yeah, that's.
But once you have a deal, now your $10 floor is gone. If they don't like it, if they don't like what you bought, you can see the stock breaching 10. So you have some people saying, "Oh, this won't go below 10." But I mean, Clover Health's the same scenario here.
How is Clover doing?
Well, it's not getting off the mat, but I mean, people are saying, well, my downside's only 10. Like I've seen this multiple times, people reaching out saying, well, it's only got downside to 10. But no, there's a deal now. So this has no longer got the 10 floor. So I'm not saying I don't know where Clover's going. I was in it for a while when it was IPOE. I think it was IPOE or IPOC or IPOD or IPO. It's going to be apparently IPOZ eventually. I know you guys were talking about that yesterday on SPAC's Attack.
Mm-hmm.
But you do lose the floor, and you're seeing this in UWMC here now, where you've lost the $10 floor, and people might be like, "Oh, I didn't know these things could go through 10." Once they got an announced deal, They can go through the floor, and they can go through the floor. They can trade anywhere. It's still freely traded. It just typically they don't trade much below 10 before pre-deal because people are obviously speculating that they're going to get their money back if they don't get a deal.
I don't know what's up with it. And I know Rockets has been kind of that's consolidating here between 21 and 22. I mean, the housing markets are still hot. Maybe it's just alternative. You know what's happening? I tell you exactly what's happening. People are making so much money trading, they're paying cash for their house and they don't need to finance it. That's what's happening.
That's a joke. But obviously not the case. But I mean, this is just not a sexy story. What do you think? Does this sound like, UWMC? It doesn't sound like an EV. It's not an EV play. It's not, sustainability. It's not, it's just, is that what it is? Mortgages? Because I don't follow.
Yeah,
the housing market is pretty damn hot.
Yeah.
But you got the home builders. Like we were talking about this yesterday.
That's true.
The home builders are starting to show some life here. But their valuations have been value stocks for a long time. These haven't really, just recently, I don't know if people have just discovered that the housing stocks are actually cheap on a valuation level. But, again, they're firing on all cylinders right now, too. So are they really cheap, or does it, eventually come back to reality when, people aren't building as many houses? I mean, this is the best environment that they've ever gotten. But, I mean, you got Mortgage Rocket, UWMC, both have been underperformers here for a while. I don't know. I don't know if it's got the sexy story. That's why I sold the Rocket on the pop, because I'm not sure there's a sexy story here. I like the fundamentals here on these companies, but right now I've been chasing story a little bit too, and I don't see the sexy story with mortgages.
Just for you Clover traders, I mean, this is just got to get that 13 seller out of there. Look at that, 3 days in a row, getting a little bit of a running start today at 1270. I know you had the short report. But you got that gap between 13 and 14 for Clover Health. See if it could finally clear 13. Like I said, trading up in the pre-market, maybe getting a little running started today.
All right, let's do a couple more takeaways because we kind of got on a tangent there with one.
Sure.
Disney into earnings. We've discussed that already. I feel like, but maybe Joel didn't give technicals on it. They
Not much to say.
They report when next week. I think next week. Let me see.
I think it's this. Isn't it Thursday?
Oh, you're right.
This week.
You're right. It is Thursday. Thursday after the close. Good call.
Yeah. It's running. I mean,
what do you say? Yeah.
I said $200 when this thing was like 167. I've obviously was way late to the party because I hated it for a while because I was like, all the parks are closed. I don't get it. But I mean, now you got the hope of the parks. You're coming on hope because you got Disney Plus that they're valuing like Netflix, which is enormous for the company. And then the parks start reopening. Now all of a sudden you got cash flow back. You could get that dividend back. You could see a lot of catalysts eventually to be bullish here. I think if Disney pulls back on the earnings, I hoped it pulled back on the last earnings report when it was 140 because I wanted to buy it at 130. It didn't pull back. It pulled back 3-4 days later, 135, but it didn't get down to fill the gap. I was hoping to fill the gap and I was going to get in at 130 for my long-term portfolio. And I missed it. And now it's 190. And I'm like, wow, do I want to buy it at 180? I don't know. As a trade, I would buy the dip. Long-term investment. I can see the story here too, though. So unless the vaccine fails, unless the South African strain comes and and obviously spreads across all of the world and it doesn't work against it. I mean, I don't see the reason to be bearish Disney here.
It did get someone's looking at just over 191 in the after hours and pre-market trading. It popped up there a few times and then got beaten back down. So you do, maybe it's someone that has a big order on the book on the New York Stock Exchange trying to get it into pre-market. But we'll throw that out for now. We'll just say, keep an eye on that close from yesterday. We're trading down 32 cents. So that's going to be your first minor resistance area, 190. That also was the high from yesterday. So half and whole numbers, if you feel like you want maybe more whole numbers, if perhaps you're looking to exit ahead of the report.
Have you guys seen GAN lately? I kind of lost sight of this one. It's over 30. Now,
Jason Raznick picks eventually go.
Well, everything eventually goes.
I know. I was looking at the one account. I was down in 2 stocks there, and then those went green too. The one account that I'm on my long-term account, I'm up in I got multiple long-term accounts. But I got the one account. I'm up in every single stock I'm 100% winners in my one long-term account. I was like, this is just the definition of a bull market. I like 30 stocks in there, and I'm 30 for 30 in that long-term account. I was like, that's just stupid. I've never seen that before. One of my long-term accounts where every single position I have is up. I've never seen that before.
Wow,
so you're in a bull market when?
7 up days in a row. So, that's a nice winning streak. We're down 44 cents, closed near the high of the session. So let's see what happens at the close today, right? If we rally up to that, see if you get some resistance, maybe just take a little breather, and something, consolidate here around 30 for another leg higher. But it has doubled here just really since December. Finally caught up with the other gaming stocks.
All right. Before I go, I don't want to forget to mention that we are having our next boot camp coming up February 20th. It's going to be options and SPACs focused. So I'm putting the link into the chat, all the chats, right there to site. It's free. It's free. That's what they tell me. They tell me it is free. February 20th. There is the link. Check it out. I won't be there because they don't invite me to these things. But other people, I believe Nic Chahine will be there, and I'm sure Chris Cathy will be doing some SPAC stuff. So that'll be February 20th. Link is now in the chat. What else did I want to say? Hit that like button. Let's see if we can get more likes. Let's see if we can get to quadruple digit likes before we're done here with this show.
We got some work to do because
we've got some work to do.
Some work to do.
I'm well aware of that.
I'm taking the under on the 1,000 likes.
All right. Any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always tweet at us or email us, premarket@benzinga.com. I got a very nice email the other day that I responded to. I'll respond to well thought out.
The nice emails. I want to see.
Yeah.
I like nice emails.
I'm not going to go find it now, but
you got me all excited. Anyways, the chat was great today. Email. I know. Hey, I apologize. Obviously, I got a little sensitive there when you have 4,000 Reddit comments over the weekend where they're bashing the hell out of you. It makes you maybe a little sensitive for a few days. So somebody was commenting that I can't pick stocks, and I took it the wrong way, maybe off the bat. I mean, I got to be able to take criticism too. And yes, I do have bad calls. I'm not always 30 for 30 in the portfolio. I have lots of losers all the time. Just trying to have more winners than losers. But, the chat overall, I love our chat. They do make the show. And lots of good people in there as well. So. Yeah,
I'm in one of his bad calls. Starboard Value SPAC. What is that?
How is that a bad call?
Wait, what's the ticker on that?
How is that a bad call? I'm up in that. How are you down in that? It's near all-time highs.
SVAC, is that it?
He's mad because he's not up.
It's all-time. What do you mean? It's at $11. What do you mean?
Where'd you buy it? It's only been to $11.50.
Okay, so I bought it somewhere in the 10.
See, you make the guy 7%, and he thinks
7%. That's Dennis. What are you talking about? That's horrible.
30 cents.
Why are you losing Spencer money? Is what I want to know.
30 cents.
Why are you doing that?
If you go back to grade 1 math, $11.25 it just ticked in the pre-market against $10.30. That's when we were talking about this. $10.30.
All right, whatever.
Are you down in it for real?
No, I'm not. No.
He's complaining about me being a bad pick. He's letting it down.
I'm
he's
flat.
Mad because he's gone up 500%.
I'm flat. You happy? Okay.
He's just saying that.
Let's see. A bunch of SPACs
I can tell you where Spencer bought it. 11.54.
That's the all-time
high. 11.54.
I'm going. He saw over 11.50. He's like, it's going to 12. It's going to 12. It's going to 12. 11.50.
I mean, we have seen some SPACs like Bill Ackman's PSTH, which go ahead of the.
I'm in that one too, thanks to you.
Well, that's a good one for you. Look at this.
Okay, I haven't looked. Okay, all right, that one's good.
It's been awesome.
That one's good. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Yep, that one's good. Thanks.
That one's good. Thanks.
Okay. John D says
30 of those things. Those pre-purchase SPACs. I got I listened to Chris Cathy on that 11 o'clock show too, and he's like, you got good piece. Good at this, man. He brought SNPR, props to Chris Cathy, because he was on there and he's like, I like this one because this was the team that brought us Helion. They're eventually probably going to get a good deal, and they got the deal yesterday. So I'm still in it, SNPR. But I mean,
Sniper. That's a great symbol.
Sniper. That's a good name for it. We'll call it Sniper now. But I got the big pop yesterday on the deal announcement. But I talked to Chris about it, and he says he still likes this one going forward. Sometimes I sell him on the deal announcement. But I mean, there's strategies in here where you're buying these things between 10 and 11. You're waiting for a deal, and sometimes you wait a long time. Sometimes you wait a short time. Sometimes maybe you won't get a deal. But I like them pre-merger when they're between 10 and 11, and they have a good management team. I'm not going to buy any celebrity SPACs, that Cramer is talking about, where it's just people's name. I want a good management team. I like the Starboard.
Is there a celebrity? There's not
a million
one.
of them.
Everybody's got so many.
Like LeBron James.
Does LeBron James have one? I think he probably does. LeBron James.
No, I don't think he's in one yet, but counting down the days.
He'll probably be coming out with one soon.
James, LBJ. Is that already a symbol? But Dennis, just to end things on a good note, we've had a lot of.
Shaq's got one. Shaq does have one.
LBJ is a symbol. Wait, what is
Shaq
that?
Shaq has one.
LBJ is
SPAC. What's the symbol of the Shaq SPAC?
LBJ is a direction of leveraged Latin American fund. So,
which one's the Shaq SPAC? What's the symbol on that one?
Shaq, SHAQ.
Is it?
No, it's not, but it should be.
It should be.
All right, we've had a lot of inter-chat volatility here. Dennis, I'm making a joke. We had a lot of inter-chat
wait, Chris Catch is here. Wait, FRX is the Shaq. There it is. Chris Catch, FRX, he says.
There you go. Right. So the Forest Acquisition.
There you go.
Oh, that's a terrible name for his SPAC. Forest Road Acquisition. It's got to be the Shaq SPAC.
All right, sorry, Joel. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I just we've had a lot of intra-chat volatility here, and I just wanted to put a smile on Dennis' face and says, John D says, I learned so much here. Thanks at Dennis Dick and me, and you got to include Spencer in that. So there, we turn that frown upside down, Triple D, make some money, invest in a comb. And
a comb.
Yeah.
I am short comb makers. I'll tell you that much. I'm also short razor companies right now too. So
whatever happened at Dollar Shave Club?
I need to.
They're doing great. They're doing great.
Really? Because I didn't think anybody's going anywhere. No one's shaving, so I didn't know that would be as good. But
maybe. Okay. For all of our podcast listeners, please remember all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Get Technical with Neil Hamilton is coming up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So tune into that. I'll be in the producer's chair. Until then, everyone have a good rest of your day. Stay safe and good luck in your trades.